All right, guys. So today I am interviewing Beth. So welcome, Beth. Thanks for spending the time.
Yeah, it's nice to finally meet you.
Yes, yes, indeed, absolutely. We had planned on doing this for quite some time, but both you and Mark, it was hard to get a time sliced out for that, and we finally did. So I'm glad for that. So Beth has gone through Recruiter Empire Mentorship, and we want to talk about your experience. I think people want to know kind of how everything went for you, and how your experience came out on the other side. What were you doing prior to joining the mentorship program?
Yeah, so prior to joining, I was working a 9 to 5 as a recruiter, and I'd also done some other, online programs that uh, kind of made me shy away from all, virtual learning programs. And Mark found this one, and he said, "This is
Uh-huh.
exactly what you're doing. You need to do this, like go on your own." And he was like, "This would be perfect for you." And he said, "The videos are totally different. They're short, they're informative, like you're gonna enjoy it." So I was like, "Okay, I'll try it." And I actually like found them useful and um, like informative. So it worked out. I watched them, so I got
Yeah.
through.
Yeah, so you found it useful. You like the content and all that, so you decided to jump in. Which is, I know we were talking earlier, and you were chatting about, there's a lot of like online courses, and there's a lot of video courses, and a lot of people that make promises of, this, that, and the other, and whatnot. But that's why we do these interviews, because we want to talk to people that have gone through Empire Mentorship and stuff like that, and that have been skeptical about doing a program that's similar, where it's like, hey, is this just a video program or whatnot, or but there's so much more that we do, with our Zoom calls and the modules, and like you mentioned, like keeping stuff up to date and things like that. So I'm glad you saw through it.
Yeah, the Zoom, like the Zoom meetings twice a week were very useful too, and it was also a really nice way to connect with other people because we have worked with like a couple of other guys in the group. Like it's a great community, like very supportive, very positive, and as long as you're like, and it's a lot of work, it's not like an overnight, miracle thing. Like you have to be like determined, disciplined, willing to do the work, willing to go through challenges, and just stay like just stay at it.
100%. That's what I tell everybody, right? Like, what's the biggest secret in recruiting? I just say consistency, and so that's that. So let's talk contracts. So you got into the program, you got running, and let's say, like, how many clients and how many contracts did you grab? Splits and solo contracts. You can, put that together, because I know you had, a mixed match of a few.
Yeah, so I have 5 active contracts. Couple of those are split. So lots of work. I'm very busy. Uh,
Yeah, I
like,
bet.
yeah. But I have like with all of those contracts, like my projected earnings are around like I'd have to do all the calculations, but roughly around like 600,000.
Mm.
And I have my very first candidate actually starting this Monday. I just called him this afternoon to make sure like everything's good. He's excited, so I should get my first check in the mail for him. And that one is one of my split contracts. That'll be 8,000.
Okay, so an $8,000 cap off on that first candidate place. That's awesome.
First one, very first check. I keep like thinking like, oh, I'm so excited, like just want to get to just want to see it like in the mail.
Get it, yeah, and then go frame it, right? Like,
Yes,
but on top of that, you mentioned you've got like a $600,000 pipeline because of the split, other splits and the other contracts that you yourself
yes,
own totally, 100%, that you've acquired, which is like amazing because that's just pipeline money that you'll see coming in, sooner rather than later, which is amazing. So love it, because you can't really run the business without a big pipeline and lots of business development going on, and whatnot and all that kind of stuff. And so now that you've got contracts to fill, you're, like you said, you're definitely busy, busy, busy,
yeah.
busy, which is good. So during the program, were you working a 9 to 5 job at the same time?
Yeah, absolutely. So I, was able to balance that work and do the videos. That's the thing I liked about them, that they were short, like they were realistic, short videos that I didn't feel like I was going to get stuck forever watching them. So it was very
Yeah.
doable to do the program and work.
Yeah, and everything's go at your own pace. You're right. So, it's not like you have to rush, 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 rush to finish up everything. It's very digestible and, there for you to kind of finalize and finish up. So, really, really good stuff there. So, that's like, I mean, 90% of students that join the program have a 9 to 5 job. And that's why I ask everyone that I interview, that's had success, that goes through the program, has that question, like, how can I do this with a 9 to 5 job? Well, you've got your 9 to 5, but you've got your 5 to 9, you know what I mean? And you got weekends, and everybody has, the same 24 hours in a day. And about 90% of people that are going to do something else have a 9 to 5, and then they, pivot off of there. So that's the whole deal there. So I'm glad you were able to grab a lot of what you have done while having the 9 to 5. It's pretty impressive, I'd say. So, what would be, as a takeaway, like your ultimate piece of advice, or what would you tell somebody that's watching this and they're thinking about getting into recruitment? They're thinking about starting a recruiting agency, and like you, right? Going from, being at an agency to setting up your own recruiting agency where now you get 100% of the cut, right, of the fees. What would you tell somebody that's just anyone, an entrepreneur or somebody that's at an agency or corporate recruiter? Like, what would you say to that person?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say if you want to get into recruiting and even just starting your own business, it definitely takes a certain amount of perseverance and fortitude, because it's not every day is like, awesome. Some days are frustrating, and you just have to be persistent and don't get discouraged. I think that's the biggest thing, is that it can be challenging. But when you're doing it and you're getting the success, like really a lot of recruiting is about listening to people, and assessing them, like, are they a good fit for this position? Are they a good, ideal candidate? Really hearing them and offering them a quality candidate experience, because you're basically building relationships with the candidates you're trying to place in jobs, and also the people that you're contracted with. Like, you are establishing yourself as a professional, as an expert. And sometimes that can be a little intimidating at first. It's like, who am I to, go out here and do something like this? But I'm not a special person. I'm not like, I think when I see video testimonials, I'm always like, oh, like this is some random special person that has like something lucky, or they're just some, they're some, like mastermind genius. Like, no, it's not like that. Like, I didn't think I could start my own business. I was kind of like, this is a lot of work. This is kind of like, well, how exactly am I going to do this? but it's really not, once you're in it and you do it, like it's not this intimidating, insurmountable thing. Like you can do this, like you can do it. So if you want to put in the work, you like talking to people, building relationships, just even building your confidence, that's going to help a lot.
I mean, that's like one of the best answers I've ever heard to that question that I ask like everyone that I interview, right? That you can do it, right? When a lot of people think they can't do that because, oh, maybe she had, this special characteristic, or maybe she knows something that I'll never be able to figure out. And you just laid it out like perfectly for somebody like that's checking it out, and they're like, well, she just said it right then and there, like I could do it too. And that's super powerful, you know what I mean? Because imposter syndrome is real. We all know this,
Sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
right? It's real. And like, when you're in high stakes types of roles, for people that do, things like, let's say there's a surgeon, right? I'm sure like at every single level, like, at a certain point, even a surgeon, right, has a little bit of imposter syndrome. Like, okay, I gotta kind of tamp this down for a second because I do know what I'm doing, but it just psychologically creeps in, and it does for business. And it's the same thing. And so long as we can get past it, we can win and win big. And that's what you're doing here right now. So I'm super pumped for you, Beth. Super, super pumped up about it, and really excited that you're going in the direction that you are. So
Yeah, and I really appreciate that you branched out and created this program and put it online. And I hope that other people can find it because, like I said, I was very opposed to videos. I didn't want to hear anything about another video course. My husband really had to convince me, like, no, this is the one. This is perfect before
yeah.
do it. So it's not the same program. It's really like worth the time. It's affordable, it has all the positives. So yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's exactly what we have designed it to be. And I definitely think that a lot of people should see it that way and think in terms of ROI, right? Rather than just like, oh, how much does something cost? Think about what you want to do and the value you want to provide to yourself, and how you want to recreate your life or create the rest of your life, or what you're going to do, right? And the impact you're going to make and stuff like that. So really appreciate the time being able to spend with you to ask you a couple questions and interview you about your experience in the program. And hopefully we'll do another interview and everything when you close up the $600,000 pipeline.
Yeah, that would be great.
Sound good?
Sounds good.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you very much, Beth, and we'll chat soon.
Okay. Thanks, Ben.
Thanks.